What's up, everybody? Welcome. We get the NFL All Day pregame show. JBB recognized. J-Light you might recognize from the Friday show, but big time appearance this morning. What's up, J-Light? How we doing?
Doing pretty good. Like we were talking about before, it's kind of a weird slate today. Not too many good games, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I like today because it feels like someone from the stands could win the game. Sorry, I'm realizing I have the YouTube open as well, and all of a sudden the volume came in, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I'm back now. But yeah, it feels like anyone from the stands could be the highest scoring quarterback this week, and that's fun. Speaking of bad quarterbacks, this is what we're going to do right now. If you like the stream, subscribe to Team Hold and put hashtag bad QB week into the chat. We'll give away a premium pack here at the end of this. So get excited for that. That's for our giveaway. We'll do that towards the end. But let's dive in. And if you're joining us for the first time, what we're going to do is go through some of John's spread skates, his flow chart, get a feel for what the slate's looking like, and then we'll build both some DraftKings and Rumble lineups and try to find a little bit of an edge today. So, John, why don't you let's kick us off, man? I saw the flow chart was getting some hype this weekend, so why don't we start there?
It was. People were getting a little bit excited about the flow chart. I don't know why. It's been pretty crappy the last however many weeks, but it's a new week, new hope. Everybody's stoked on it. So so yeah, here we go. So we'll start with the cash. I think it's important to talk through the chalk for the week, right? So we've got the headliner of the bad QB week, Sam Ehlinger. I think he is pretty much a lock for cash. I mean, I know Malik Williams opened up a little bit yesterday, or Malik Willis, but he's $1,000 more, pretty much the same style of player, I think, and same style of projection, range of outcomes, and all that crap. So I think you're basically just saving the $1,000 there and going to Ehlinger in cash. And then the other two guys that are really popping the most are Pollard and Hill, Tyreek Hill. And those are they've kind of got outsized outsized projections relative to everybody else in their group there. So I know you got the Waddle jersey on. I think that's pretty good leverage off Tyreek Hill.
Let's go, baby.
Be popular as well. But I think you pretty much have to jam in Hill and Pollard in cash. And then I don't know. I made like 6 different lineups, and DJ Moore was in every one of them. So I don't know if he was really. I don't know if I'd consider him a lock. I do have him in that column, but when I'm going to make the flow chart, that's how I do it. I like just kind of paired out everybody that's in every lineup, and so DJ Moore was making it in, and I think at 5,300 he does project really well. So yeah, I don't know. It's gross. But he was the guy that like catapulted everybody last week.
We get some. I like way the people said in DFS. If you're not playing Ehlinger, just withdraw your entries. Fenny saying Waller is out, so I wonder if that. I wonder if this is early enough that maybe Foster Moreau gets some steam here at tight end. But that kind of enters another guy into the chat. One thing though, John, that I wanted to point out from this that I find pretty interesting is seeing 4 tight ends here in the cash game flow chart. Feels like that might keep anyone from gaining too much ownership, because initially I thought it was going to be like Irv Smith or George Kittle. Those are going to be like the 2 options, but seeing 4 here makes me think like you're not really getting anyone that's going to have too much ownership, except maybe Irv I could see gaining the most steam, but
I think Irv probably gains the most steam. I kind of, so when I'm doing this for cash, I try to like to have like a decision point every week. So sometimes it's like a high priced quarterback versus a low price quarterback. This week, since Ehlinger was a lock and some of the running backs are kind of in a similar category, I went there with the spread on tight end. And so I think I'm personally not going to play Kittle in cash, but I mean I could see it happening. I just would rather pay down, I think. But yeah, I mean, Kittle's like the one guy. I mean, this is what everybody's been talking about, right? He's the one guy that can blow up the slate from the tight end perspective. So I don't know. Joe, you got anything on tight ends? What's your read on the cash guys here?
Well, it was looking like Fant for a little bit, and then we got the DK Metcalf news last night, which I saw Levitan talking in ETR Discord earlier, which he said he thinks it makes him a bad play, but he still might play him just because he's so cheap. And there's some builds where you need him. Otherwise, it's Irv or Freiermuth, I think, for cash. Maybe maybe now with Moreau, we'll see how he projects.
Yeah.
But
I also just saw 2 DK's playing. It looks like DK got cleared to go.
yeah, but him and Lockett are both banged up. So how effective will they be?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's a lot of question marks.
Freiermuth is somebody that I think, Joe, I think we talked about it on Friday, or I know I talked about it on Monday. It kind of seems like I know he's not taking the Deontay Johnson role. So let me say that first. But like he seems to be the guy getting a lot of those, 6 to 8 yard throws that we used to see Deontay like eat on, right? And so it's weird that Freiermuth's like a PPR guy, but from the last 2 like Steelers games I saw, he does seem to get peppered.
Yeah, and they should be trailing this game, so you should get a lot of those dump off targets again today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just 4,000 for a tight end that we don't know what the floor is. I don't.
Right.
That's tough.
Good point. Good point.
Well, and I think the DK news, if anything, it kind of just makes like the rest of the passing game, be not as enticing, right? So like you can't play D Eskridge now. You probably, Marquise Goodwin was like gonna be sneaky. Now he's probably just like a punt, and you're just hoping, DK or Lockett get hurt during the game and like he gets some more action. And so I don't know. I just think that passing game's just kind of whack now. They're not even really projecting very well. So when I was making some Danny Dimes stuff, and I was pretty much just only using Walker and maybe throwing Fant in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the 2,800, like Joe's saying, I think it's fine. And then next up, you got kind of the chalk running back. So I'm excited to hear your guys' take on these, because I haven't really built with many of these 3 high price guys yet.
No.
I squeezed a little bit of Derrick Henry in there, but between Kamara, Henry, and Jacobs, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, you can go first, Joe.
I like Kamara the best. I don't want to call him a lock, but I don't know. He's got 9 targets in back-to-back games. Pretty decent matchup. One of the better games on the slate, so I like him. Jacobs, price is getting up there now, so that's tough.
Oh, I think.
Do I really? If I'm playing,
it's actually 7,500.
Which one? 7,500.
Jacobs.
7,500.
Okay.
And then it's like, do I want to play Jacobs, Kamara, and Olave in the same lineup? That's tough, but.
This is why I don't play cash. This right here. This is why I don't do it, because I hate this. I hate most of the names on here. I don't want Henry. I was looking at for some GPP stuff, because I wasn't sure like how much ownership he was gonna have, but
dude, he's like averaging 250 yards and like 3 touchdowns is his last like 3 games against the Texans or something.
I
crazy,
know.
So. I think getting up to Henry then lowers your ceiling a little bit. So. And I'm just completely off of Jacobs. I think he's too high priced this week. He had such a big jump. So I think that's fine to stay away. And then finally, just kind of fit in, one of these other guys, which are sprinkled through. Some of them are in the other columns. But Wandale, I know that's your boy, Mike.
I do. I love Wandale.
Olave. I think Olave is good. So the interesting thing about the Saints-Raiders game, and maybe we could transition into the GPP side a little bit, because that's the only game that I'm not really on at all today, but I think it's the riskiest for me to not be on, because like the Saints are going to go through Kamara and Olave, like even freaking like Juwan Johnson's banged up, so it's like who is even going to do anything on that team? And then the Raiders without Waller are going to go through Adams and Jacobs, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's just like that. It's a high total game. It's condensed production. Like these are all the things that I like harp on every week, and I just like haven't fit them into any of my lineups. And I think that's a mistake.
I was thinking about that too, because John, you were saying you've been trying to like almost overstack a little bit this week. And I actually, because of the Waller news in some of these spots, I think you can capture most of the offense without stacking it. I don't think Andy Dalton in your lineup actually helps that much, right? If you just want to either take Olave, take Kamara, or seriously, you could probably play both of them and still capture most of that offense. And then same thing with the Raiders. The Foster Moreau I actually like as a punt, but I feel like you could just play Adams and capture, or just play Jacobs and capture just about all of the Raiders offense. I don't know if Carr has, especially because of the Malik Willis and Erlingers. I keep wanting to call him to Erdanger, but because we have both of those guys, right? I don't think you need to go to the Red Rocket or anyone else in that price range.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, especially with Tua's just a little bit above that, and Kirk Cousins, those guys are right there. Like, I don't know. I do like Adams as kind of a one-off maybe, or a mini stack, but that's about it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, the thing with Adams and Jacobs is they're kind of hard to fit in a little bit today. They're like, you kind of got to get a little bit gross if you're getting them in there. So that's probably why I haven't had enough Adams. I don't think the Raider side is as important, just because I think at the 7,500 and the 8,600, like, I don't know, they got to do a lot to bury you, which they could, but I think Olave is probably the guy that I'm most scared about at the 6,000. And if he's just like the only guy catching passes on that team, then that could really hurt you.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing Olave, and this is a leak in my game, but once I plant that flag, it's hard to come back.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so moving on to the GPP side, we got a Kirk Cousins double setup. Basically, you can either go Hopkins or Moore with the bring back is what I threw down, and then if you go Jefferson, you kind of pay down for Pollard chalk, and if you go to Thielen, you kind of can pay up for Henry. So I was getting a lot of comments on why I circled out Raheem Mostert as like a guy to put in every lineup, and like initially, yes, it's good leverage off of Tua and all that stuff, right? The Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua doubles. But like in itself, like I don't know if that's extremely critical. But what I did notice when I was building Kirk Cousins doubles is it was the exact same price as some of the Tua doubles. So like when you like a bunch of combinations of even including like Gesicki instead of Irv Smith and like some of the Tua stuff and bringbacks, like all that stuff was like almost the exact same price as the Cousins side. And so I'm like, okay, that's just like a double leverage, right? It's like I'm already not playing Tua, so now obviously like a lot of these Tua lineups will have similar guys like these Cousins lineups.
Right.
So then if I also throw in Mostert, then it should kind of provide some double leverage. And so that was really why I highlighted it for this week, and I kind of thought it was a pretty sneaky little option. But I don't know, what is your guys' take on Mostert or that game?
I actually think you could play him with Tua too. Like I think I'm a big fan of sneaking running backs into those stacks, especially if you're like trying to overstack the game. But his targets have picked up a little bit the last couple of weeks. I don't have that in front of me, but I know that his targets have picked up a little bit. And this is such a weird slate where I feel like there's only a couple of games that can really shoot out. So if you just want to be like, hey, I'm going to try to get as much exposure to this game as possible. So whether you're stacking or doing like you said with Minnesota or Arizona side of things, I still think you're like, okay, I'm capturing some of the offense. I was listening to Overzet this morning, and he was saying too that he's either like on that game or off that game in every lineup. So like he's not, just because of how popular all of these pieces are going to be. So he's like, he's not trying to do like a Mostert, Amon-Ra, or Swift and Waddle. Like if he's going to play the game, he's going to play the game, which I thought was an interesting point. Because I've been doing mostly minis in a lot of my builds if I'm staying away from that game.
Yeah. I gotta hype the Jay Jefferson, sweatshirt, baby.
Oh, there you go.
15% off because I owned his moment, so.
Is that Athlete Studio?
When you got that kind of deal, you got to pump it, baby. You got to pump JJ.
Hell yeah.
Even as a Packers fan, that's brutal, man.
I know, dude. It's brutal. It's brutal. But, the only reason is because it's my initials. That's the only reason I bought it. So.
That's fair.
Joe, what about you? What were your thoughts on that? The Mostert.
I like it. Yeah, I agree with what Overzet had to say too. Like if you're playing it, you go all in on it. If not, you just fade it. It's a weird spot because I think if the Dolphins get out to an early lead, that's going to kill the stack, right? Like,
right.
That'd be good for Mostert. But if somehow the Lions were to get up early, this game's just going to go wild. And if you don't have it, you're done. So, yeah, it's a tough spot. Right now, I currently have a Tua double with Swift and Amon-Ra coming back, but
to push back on the Dolphins thing, even though I'm repping a Jalen Waddle jersey right now, how many times have the Dolphins popped off offensively outside of that Ravens game?
Yeah, that's fair.
I know the Lions suck at defense.
Yeah.
I think the counter argument to that is like,
how many times have they finished the game with the same QB they started it with? Like
that is
like
a great counter.
they haven't really gotten a bunch of continuity there. So
Fair
hopefully
point.
maybe this helps. But I mean it's just like everybody's gonna play two doubles and they're gonna hope that they score 120 points combined between the three of them like they did against the Ravens. So
Yeah.
you just kind of gotta be aware of that when you're building lineups, I think. And like so what are some of the other, so like we talk about that game, and then I'm pretty big on this Cousins game obviously, but what else are you guys targeting as far as stacks go?
Oh, Joe, you can go first.
Nothing really. I'm kind of interested in the Ellinger lineups. I'm looking here. I'm not going to stack him, but
Yeah.
you can do game stacks around him, which I like. And his ownership has come down a little bit with getting the Malik Willis news yesterday.
What are you seeing him at right now? Is he sub 25?
Yeah, on ETR, he's like 11.3.
Oh, lock it in. 11? Let's go.
That's probably for like the milli makers. I think for single entry, smaller field, it'll probably be 20-ish%, maybe 15 to 20. But I mean, outside of Jalen Hurts, maybe Tua, who's got a 40-point ceiling today,
I know. That's I like the you mentioned Hurts, and I know AJ Brown's on here. That's somebody that if I really want to get some exposure to that offense, and I think there's ways like the Jalen double I do think is really interesting, and you can throw Dallas Goedert into that conversation too, because it's probably tough to get both AJ and Devonta in a lineup. But I do want to figure out how to get that to that game, and I do think like we were talking about, Freiermuth is like a fun bring back if you're going to do it, or even George Pickett, so you can get away with. So I do want to figure out how to get to that game, but again, I've been finding more. Like, I almost want to just do like AJ and Freiermuth with Ellinger instead of with Jalen Hurts, just because it opens up so much. And especially because running back seems massive this week. Like there's a lot of solid running back plays, which I hate saying because I usually don't play them. But man, it's tricky.
Well, and I think one of the things like JM to Win was talking about that I was listening to is like, there's only these 3 or maybe 4 games that probably are going to blow up, right? And so it's probably going to be a week where like you just need one game, or you needed that one game to go off. And if you did, you're going to do all right. And if you didn't, you won't. Like we've already seen like I think 2 of those weeks with the one that was like the Detroit Seattle game.
Yep.
Like you needed like a bunch of pieces there, and then obviously the Ravens Dolphins week, and I think this one's going to be similar. And so I mean, I've got lineups that have like 6 pieces all from 2 games, or 7 pieces from 2 games or something. So just trying to kind of really load up on that a little bit. The other thing that's interesting when we talk about Ellinger is the cheap receivers route. So if people play Ellinger, they're not going to probably play a cheap receiver.
Right.
And if you're not playing Ellinger, then I kind of think you should play a cheap receiver just to equal that kind of similar salary point that he's got. So be at that 4K or under. But Ellinger plus a cheap receiver is really interesting, and you can just jam so much stuff in. Like I think I made one this morning, and it was like Ellinger. I think I put Van Jefferson in there, and I think I also actually put Ellinger with Pierce. And then it was like Saquon, Kenneth Walker, like Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra, George Kittle, like all the like just a bunch of studs in there. And I think that's a pretty fun way to look at it. And I think that's what you should do when you're building lineups is like you should build it like a stack, and then you should swap out Ellinger and see like what else that can get you. Right? It's just like such a huge savings.
Similar to what you were just saying, I was toying around with some Ellinger lineups, doing the same thing. Like I paired him with Pierce, which I know a lot of people probably aren't going to stack Ellinger, and Pierce that's honestly an underdog play because I've got like 72% of them in best ball. So I'm just willing him to good games. But then by doing that, I threw one more cheap receiver in there. I did it with Wan'Dale from the Giants. And then I was able to play Henry, Swift, and McCaffrey in that same lineup. And I know you're not super high on McCaffrey this week, John, but I like to be able to fit like 3 of those guys in there is pretty spicy, I think. And that like all of those guys have monster ceilings, and there's just ways to do it. And that still gave me Devonta Smith as well, and Gesicki as a tight end. So that's like a pretty pretty solid squad. And I saw a lot of people too. We haven't really talked about Pollard, even though I see him in the GPP flow chart. And I think he was someone that everyone was like, oh yeah, he's obviously a must play. I still think his ownership's going to be super high, but I do think there's paths to getting some of these like really high end wide receivers. What are you guys doing with Zeke? Sorry, Pollard. Pollard. Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, I always struggle with this. Like, obviously, I'm just jamming them in at cash, but I never. Well, so I think if you're doing like a Dolphin stack, you don't want to play Pollard. Like, that's just too much ownership, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting weird, Pollard's the best play. So play him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten that much Pollard. I kind of like Kenneth Walker a little bit better. And I've been getting up to him. I mean, I think Pollard's fine. But I've just been trying to play a little bit of like Kenneth Walker and Wandale, like you're saying, or then I go down to Mostert and try to play him with like a Monra or something. So, but I mean, Pollard and Mooney, I do have a couple Pollard Mooney lineups if you want to get really dirty. So that's kind of fun.
I like that. Well, does anybody? I feel like we can start looking at building a lineup. Also, Joe, I think maybe having you on the show will get us our first cash of the week. So
I wouldn't bank on it, but
well, we haven't hit anything, so the floor is 0 right now.
Let me get set up here. I'll share my screen in a sec.
Yeah, and I'll remove yours and add mine for a second. Just a reminder too, we've got 43 entrants. This is a shot at a premium pack. So on an NFL all day, all you have to do is like the stream, subscribe to Team Hold, and put a hashtag Bad QB Week in there. I'm also gonna drop a link into Momentum into the chat for Momentum Labs, where you can get all of the alpha that JBB has given us. He also has a ton of So Rare info. He's got some Top Shot data. He's got all day data. So go check out Momentum Labs, and I'll throw your screen back up, John.
Okay, right on. Let me get.
Oh, here I'll move it. You can tell me when you're ready. Yeah, Joe's goated. That's right. We need a win, man. It's sad. We're back. I think we did a couple on John's account, then we were on my account, and so it doesn't matter what account, it's been all L's. So I'm excited to get it done.
Not an account thing.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's superstition, man.
Okay, should we start with some Sam Ehlinger, Alec Pierce, or what?
Dude, what J-Lo, how are you feeling about Pierce?
I don't like him, but I get
it. What the fuck, Joe?
Whatever.
No, dude, we're doing it. I don't really care. That's what I think we got to do.
I want to throw something at you too, because we haven't talked about this at all. We probably don't need to do it. Honestly, if you're playing Ehlinger and Pierce, you definitely don't need to do it. But like, listen, this guy survived the shooting. Do we need Brian Robinson in this lineup to just like?
I don't think so. I'm scrolling down to my list of guys that I like X'd out of my whole thing, and like Brian Robinson's right in there. I just don't think we need it this week. Like, there's just too many good ready backs. And if I think we'll get on the Brian Robinson train if, Gibson or McKissick gets shot, but like when those, but while those guys are healthy, I don't know if we can play all of them.
I see we the people throwing Campbell in the chat. I don't mind Campbell either, but I listen, protecting my bags, dude. It's Pierce.
Yeah, everybody. I've heard some sharp people say Pierce is the play this week, so I'm just gonna listen to them. Yeah, I mean you, of course, and that was based on your best ball backs. But okay, so let's throw out a little defense here. I really like playing the Texans defense this week.
Yeah, I love that too.
Just because Malik Willis isn't that good, and then
wait, go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say, are they gonna throw the ball, Tennessee ever?
Yeah, maybe not.
That's I think for cash it's fine. I don't know about tournaments though. Like I don't know. It's a tough call. But
where are you going at defense then? Because I feel like most of the ownership is going to land on Washington. I think that's going to be a lot of the. Where are you at defense then?
I'm still deciding between Washington and Houston for cash defense or for tournaments. I don't know. Whatever's left, I guess.
Steelers, baby. Steelers against Jalen Hurts.
There we go. Yeah, there's really not a good punt defense after 26, but
yeah, I was trying to put in. I'm trying to leave enough salary to get one of the Niners or Rams. I feel like we'll see. Yeah. I actually like some one-off pieces from those games, but I feel like Stafford and Jimmy, they love a little pick six.
I think if you're not playing the Jefferson and Viking stack, I think Cardinals are fine. We know Kirk will throw it around a little bit.
I don't hate that either. We can stick with the Steelers though, but it's just like a gross one.
Yeah, let's do Steelers
what
for
happens.
now.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun. And then now we already have 6,500 left per player. Like that's just
it's just fucking have fun, dude.
So let's start with the running backs, Mike, because I feel like that's where we need to make some decisions.
Yeah,
on what we want to do. So,
the flow chart says we have to play Mostert.
Well, that was only in those letters, but we can't play Mostert. I'm down on Mostert. So, but when I was looking through some comps on ETR last night, they have this like player comp thing. Kenneth Walker was actually like the second best guy out of like all these guys.
Wow.
With the way that I was looking at it, which I don't even remember exactly how I was trying to come up with my rankings, but he ranks number 2, baby. So if that doesn't really sell you, I don't know what does.
All right, let me ask you this quick: are you playing him in cash this week?
I actually haven't made my cash lineup yet, but I think so. Or I don't know. Give me the 2 options. Give me the.
There's
options.
like a 2v2 of. It's like him and Freiermuth, or I know people are going down to Irv, or I don't know. It's him or like Jacobs and Fant or something like that.
I think I'd rather play Walker and one of the. Oh, that's probably what it is. It's probably Jacobs and Fant or Kamara and Fant or something, and then Walker and Smith. I think I'd rather take the Walker Smith side.
Yeah. That Patriots defense. Yeah.
So, all right, if we're playing Walker, are we playing my favorite player in football right now?
Is that Wan'Dale?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that. So that gives us another cheap piece, which is interesting. So
what I really like about Wan'Dale too, I feel like we haven't seen his big time upside yet, but I feel like he does have a safe floor too. And so like because he gets peppered with these just like quick passes, and then his yak is what it's going to get him. And he's going to break one. He is going to break one sooner rather than later. So I like getting him before other people are on him.
So then let's figure out tight end here before we really start having fun. So I don't have Waller updated, so he's out. So it's basically Kittle at 57, or I don't know, we drop down to like those guys sub 4.
What do you think Foster's ownership is going to be?
I'm sure I can get that actually updated here.
Because I like the idea.
I don't think it's going to get steamed that much. And he's only 3,100. I don't know. Do you think there's enough time for it to get steamed?
I don't think so.
No, maybe 10% tops.
31 seems pretty sex.
Yeah. So if we put in Foster, then I kind of like playing Kamara or Olave. I don't know what you guys think on that.
Joe, you're pretty high on Kamara, right?
Yeah, I'm big on Kamara. Let me just see here. I do like paying up for Kittle, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Especially in this lineup, if we have Wan'Dale and Alec,
let's
some upside.
Let's build first with Foster and just see what it gets us, and then let's build.
So Foster's popping off, dude. Like you kind of have to play Foster. It seems like now, and the ownership hasn't adjusted, but like this is like darkest of the dark blues, dude. That's an automatic for me.
Colors don't lie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Foster almost seems like a cash lump too now. So that's interesting. That's partly why I didn't start building it. Holy crap! So we got 8,000 left. So maybe we don't need to play Wan'Dale, but let's see what we can do with 8,000.
Can we put Wan'Dale in the wide receiver spot in like open flex for a second? And I know he's a 4:00 game. I'm just thinking.
Sorry, dude. Yeah.
No. Because this feels like it's going to be a 3 running back lineup, doesn't it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So 8,000 running backs. We got a ton of room to run here. So we could jam in Henry, or we could do like Tyreek and Amon-Ra, which is kind of sick. But then that leaves us with, I think we have too much money.
What about Jefferson and Hopkins?
Woo!
Yeah, damn,
dude, that's fire.
Oh, you're just short on Hopkins.
Yeah, but what if we go from? What if we go Henry to Kamara?
Or we can go Henry to Barkley.
Oh, we have Kamara in there.
Oh, but then we have or we can go.
We already have Kamara in there.
Kamara.
Yeah, and then we can get off that garbage Steelers defense. Well, how much salary we got left?
Yeah.
Oh, 3,500. So then we've got, and that's a Foster Moreau. Yeah, that's pretty sick. So 3,500. Who's down here? Dolphins, Raiders, Vikings, Seahawks, Niners. You like the Niners, right?
I do kind of like the Niners. I don't know. Do you guys care about that one?
Not really. So we still got $400. Can we get better anywhere? Jefferson up to Cup.
What if we no? I like Jefferson stealing more than Cup, which I don't know. But what about if what does moving off of Wan'Dale get us? Because maybe we go back down to our punt defense and listen, I love Wan'Dale, but if that gets us we the people saying Ayuk, I don't know what Ayuk's price point is, but
61.
I think we'll just miss that, right?
So that's 58.
Yeah.
Is there anybody good at 58? Not really. Brand Cooks, gross. I mean, that's close to Mostert. Yeah, that's close. So let's try this though. Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra. And then that's 6,900.
Nice.
For Swift, we just really pound that game. Waddle, we really pound that game too. More pounding.
We like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Jalen Waddle, and then you go up to whatever Texans.
So let's just think through this quick. So if Waddle and Tyreek get there, or even like Justin Jefferson or Irv Smith, something like that, what kind of scores would Cousins and Tua could they put up that don't bury you if you play Ellinger, but also stack those pieces? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think you have to also look at it by what Ellinger gives us, right? So that gives us an extra 2K, right? So then, so if you're playing this stack with Tua. And then, so that means basically you can't play Kamara then. So it's so really this is like a bet on Kamara, I think, kind of.
Right.
Or like a bet on Kamara and Walker outscoring Deontay Foreman and Pollard kind of thing. I think that was what. So because if we make this real quick, I think this works out actually almost perfectly. If you go to oh God, Tago by Loa. Yeah, there we go.
Wow. Wait, how much salary does that give us if we? Sorry, I'll let you finish, and then I got an idea.
Would be Tony Pollard. So that would be who we're up against, if in this scenario, right? So it's a 2v2 of Foreman, Pollard versus Kamara, Walker. Well, obviously including the QBs.
Interesting. I was gonna say I wasn't sure how much salary it would have, but was gonna throw the name Mostert out there to do your aggressive overstack of
Yeah, I mean we could do Mostert instead of Walker, and then we can get rid of Tyreek.
Oh, I was saying in the Tua stack.
Oh, I see.
And so that you would have Tua, Mostert, Waddle, Hill, and then you're just hoping that game goes freaking bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a sharp way to do it in small field also.
Yeah.
So then you can't play. What can we not play? We can't get lower than that. We can't get lower there. We can't get much lower there. So then we're just coming off of Pollard, and I have to do Foreman. And then go up to I don't know, Rams.
Could we? Well, but you know what though? We probably in this build we don't need Alec Pierce, right? What if?
It's true.
Can you? If we stayed with, I forget who that running back was before. Yeah, I was gonna say Wan'Dale or even Mr. Berrios.
Oh God. Berrios, huh?
Yeah, dude.
What's he at? 3,700.
Dude, sex.
Damn. So then we get off Foreman and we can go to somebody. Well, we can go up to Kenneth Walker.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then we come down here with Rams and we go them to Steelers. That's interesting. Just a mega Tua game. So mega Tua game basically, and then Amon-Ra bring back. So like we really need that game to just go off, right? And then
I think you could even go from Walker to Swift too.
No, we can't.
What's Swift's price?
68.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I like this approach of like 3-1 and small field, like what we're playing. But I kind of like. So I like the correlation that we're getting here, right? Because we're getting Moreau and Kamara, and then we're getting Waddle, Hill, and Amon-Ra. We're basically just kind of hoping these guys are PPR monsters, right? And maybe their QBs just don't completely get there. Or I just think we can't keep that same conversation going because it's the Ellinger thing, right? So it's like it's not like we're basically playing this game stack and then we're like, okay, let's also fit in Kamara is kind of the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's I think that's the right way to approach it. And then like just swinging in this Alec Pierce Ellinger kind of deal, I think is pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I really like this first lineup better than the Tua on.
Oh, yeah. I think I do too. I did too. I just wanted to build one of those because we were talking a little bit about like the overstacking, and I think with Joe's point of like how like with those guys blowing up, how many points does Ellinger need to get to like offset what Tua has? But I just think it was a good conversation of trying to land that. Let's
we'll finish that up.
Yeah, we'll finish that up. I think we should move over to Rumble. I saw where's Borland? I saw Borland in the chat a little bit earlier saying like it might be Evan Ingram week now as the Broncos took the lead to 14-10. I think our man Dusilich, Greg. I'm just gonna call him Greg. Whoa. I think he scored a touchdown. Let me just double check what we have over here for scores.
There was a freaking game going on today.
Yeah, because sweet. Another Russell Wilson game. But yeah, Broncos are up 14-10, I think, at halftime. And we have, let me see any
ECN's got 120 yards. Damn.
He's gonna be so much fun this second half of the year. If you have him in best ball, that's gonna be a good time for you.
Ingram's got 15 points. That's pretty good on a shitty tight end slate.
Yeah, I think, and we get a whole nother half. So if he can get up to 20, I mean, even at 15, I think I'm locking him in. But if he gets up to 20, that's mega lock. And I don't know how many people are paying attention to it either.
Yeah, true.
Do you want to pull up your Rumble rankings and Rumble projections?
Yeah.
Kind of look through.
Yeah, there's actually a couple interesting points to think about this week.
Regulator. That's true. I said that funny.
So we'll start at QB. So no Mahomes this week. And so that kind of sprinkles some ownership, I think, outside. And Lamar didn't do very well. I think I might have Lamar a little too high at 10%, but I've seen that people don't fully correct enough in these. And so, like, I don't know, Lamar's been trending at like 15, so maybe he drops down to 10, or maybe he drops down a little bit farther. I'm not sure. The thing with Lamar is like Andrews completely took a turd, so maybe people aren't playing Lamar and Andrews. So maybe if this is like 5%, then that probably means like that brings up maybe Burrow and then maybe Hurts. So this is probably the right spread. Obviously Allen is, just far ahead of the group there with his projection and ceiling against my shitty Packers, shitty Packers. Now that Joe's on the stream with us. And then we've got, Hurts, who isn't really getting a lot of, hype in the So one thing I've noticed is there is a little bit of steam on guys who get, are projecting good that week for DFS, or who get talked about a lot that week for DFS. Let me put it that way. And Hurts hasn't really been getting talked about at all.
No.
Because of Ellinger, right? And obviously nobody's playing Ellinger on Rumble. So I think Hurts could be really sneaky play on Rumble this week, because I think there's a good chance he comes in below 15%. And I mean, I don't know. That's just like really good contrarian playoff Allen.
Yeah, and looking at the projections too of ceiling, like for that to you're getting like a 20 to 25, maybe even 30% decrease on ownership for just like a 3-point ceiling sacrifice. And I think, I mean, there's plenty of ways I wouldn't say Josh Allen fails, but there's plenty of ways that it doesn't absolutely moon. Where like Hurts, I feel like is going to score a ton of points today, and if you get lucky rushing the ball, could be big.
Yeah. So that's kind of some of the decision points there, and then going down to running back. Running back, I've got really spread out on ownership, but you can see like what we talk about a lot, but like I don't know, all these guys, like I would even include maybe Pollard. I would even include like, man, like all these guys are just like the same player in my mind. Like if you look at like their projection, it's all roughly the same. If you look at their ceiling, it's all within like 1 or 2 points. Like that's just not really enough to move the needle for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'll totally like play this guy or not. And so that's why I then look to ownership a little bit. And we've seen multiple weeks in a row here where like Ramondre Stevenson was popular, or what was a really good play. He wasn't popular enough on Rumble. Even last week, I think Josh Jacobs wasn't popular enough on Rumble as he should have been. And this week it might just be Tony Pollard, right? And I think like I don't know. I just think that's an interesting way to like think through the Rumble stuff, because typically like we talk, everybody in the DFS land knows Pollard to smash this week, but that doesn't like fully end up carrying over to Rumble, right? So like maybe there's a world where Pollard should be like 20% or something, but he might come in at like 10% or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, that's probably a pretty good play then if he's got a potential of being the highest scoring running back,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially if they're all so close. People are saying turn up the sound for John, and then my headphones blast in my ears when Mike talks. John, I don't know if you can turn your mic up a little bit. I can't do it on my end, but
is that better? Is that better?
That's a little bit better on my end anyways. I've been hearing you fine, but
okay.
Yeah, Joe, what about you? Where are you at on your takes?
Looking at this, I would just play Henry and Kamara. I mean, sub 20% on both, 2 highest ceilings.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't play Saquon at that ownership. CMC.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to not play Henry this week on Rumble. So I think that's kind of got to lock that one in. And then whatever your second running back is, like, yeah, Kamara. I would say Kamara, Pollard, or maybe like, I don't know. I think it's just going to be really spread out. Running backs have started to spread out a little bit more, especially because Taylor and McCaffrey haven't, they carried a lot of ownership early in the year, but then lately they've been only in around the 20% range. And so I think this is like the running back spot kind of ends up making or breaking you a little bit, because you kind of have to get it right every week, because there's just so many lineups that have like multiple iterations of all these guys. So then going down to receiver, we've got we've got an interesting week here. We've got the 5 studs basically in here. I think I don't know. Have you guys been able to think through if like the island games affect the ownership too much? Like Diggs, right? He's still probably going to be really popular, right? Even though like no fantasy podcasts are talking about Diggs and Josh Allen this week.
I would think so. I haven't really been paying attention though to Rumble too much, so I wouldn't know.
I think so, man. I think if like you see Josh Allen being 37%, I think like if you're plugging in Josh Allen, it's like easy to plug in Diggs. I do think this week's a little bit interesting because of like how well Tyreek Hill's being projected and talked about, and Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson and like all of those guys. But I do still think like if you're like looking for tiebreakers when you're building that lineup, it's like, well, I have Josh Allen, so I'll probably put in Diggs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then so yeah, I mean, I think at the top there it's pretty strong, and then it kind of falls off a bit after that. T. Higgins is interesting just because he's on Monday night. No Jamar Chase now, and probably going to be coming in under 10%. So I could see that being a nice little pivot, maybe in the flex or something.
I know we're on wide receiver. I wanted to pull this comment up because one, that's like an insane pull. He pulled the Pierce this week, which is the Lego moment, which also could come in handy for this challenge this week too. But do I play him since he's low owned and go chalky the rest?
Yeah, what do I even have Pierce? I have him at like 0 basically. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad play. Pierce is projecting well. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's a differentiator. It's kind of funny. I wouldn't really probably play Pierce as your hero though. Like, so hopefully you could play another hero and get the 1.25 points elsewhere. But playing the Pierce and being the only, one of probably 5 people that have Pierce in their lineup or something, I think it's pretty smart. And
yeah,
he's projecting well enough.
This is kind of like I thought we were going to be seeing some of this year with the Trey Lance legendary moment, where I was like, oh man, if you have the Lance legendary, you just like roll that out every week because of that potential of ceiling. But not only that, because no one else, there's only like a few of them. I love that idea of just putting them in there to immediately make yourself unique from like the 6,000 entrants,
Yeah. Okay, so then we've got tight end, which is a wasteland.
I think everyone go plug in Ingram, and that just ends the conversation.
I need to go buy one actually.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, he's got, if I'm doing this math right, 4 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown, right? So that's 15 point something. So yeah, I think he's kind of a lock to play this week in Rumble, because like Kittle is probably the only guy you're nervous about,
right?
Maybe a Goddard and Hawk, but like after that, I mean, 15 is like really good for all these bros. So
right, 15, and again, like, I mean, I don't know, even if he just catches 2 passes for 20 yards here in the second half, now you're looking at a 19, and now only 3 guys would have a projected ceiling, not even like median, a ceiling of getting there. So with tight end being like pretty hard to predict, and there's no, like, we didn't get Andrews, we don't have Kelsey, like I'm just plugging that in and moving on.
Yeah, I am interested to see how many people play Andrews still, just because they're like I know it sounds funny, but like I still have that 5%, even though he scored 6 points, because people are just so used to playing it. And like, I think there's a decent amount of lineups that just like don't have a ton of moments, so they just play, whoever they've got. And so yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'll be curious too. I think if that was a Sunday morning game, that we would see that ownership be even higher, right? Because I think people just continue to forget that you can like adjust it on Sunday mornings. And then defense.
I mean, who knows? I think I'm probably gonna play the Cowboys just because the Bears suck.
Yeah, Bears suck, but they lit up the Pats defense last week. So
yeah, that's true.
Who knows? But no, I think Cowboys defense is so good that makes a ton of sense. What about you, Joe? Anybody?
Hawk's gonna go off. He's got his money on Hawk.
Yeah, he could. I got nothing. Play whoever you want.
All right, awesome.
This is a bit of a crapshoot, I think.
Yeah, every week. I mean, that's why we're throwing in the fucking Steelers, man. I'll pull this off here. Let's get back to the giveaway. Remind the people. While people are going at me on Twitter right now, being like, dude, they got to be getting paid for this so rare stuff. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm pretty clear about that, bro. All right, let's go. Hashtag bad QB week. Like the stream, subscribe, put hashtag bad QB week into the chat. We have 56 entrants. If you win, you shoot me a little DM on Twitter, on the Discord. We'll make sure we get you that premium pack. Shout out NFL All Day for continuing to partner up with us on that. I don't know. Wait, let's any other like fire takes, hot takes that we need to get out before we get out of here this weekend? Any want to plant our flags anywhere? Die on any hills? Tyreek, maybe? That's bad joke. Bad joke. Terrible.
I don't know. I think it's a fun week. I would just try to slam in as much correlation as possible in your lineups. Really lean into that and just hope you get right on the games. And I would say don't play anything like Brian Robinson Jr. or anything at that ready back. There's a ton of good ready backs. So don't feel the need to get crazy like Mike. Okay.
He might be in play. That's all I'm saying. No, he's not going to be in my player pool. I'm only doing 3 lineups. I'm trying to figure out what my what my non-Ellinger or Aaron, what the fuck is his name? Can somebody say it?
Ellinger, you nailed it.
Ellinger.
All right. I got to find out who's going to be my non-Ellinger lineups because I want to be like, you like that? And take some Kirk Cousins. I'm also like really interested in Jalen Hurts. I don't know what to do with this Miami game. I think it's getting a little too cute being like, you know what? Maybe we go the other way and go Jared Goff. I don't want to touch that. No. So I don't know. I don't know what to do yet. But what about Joe? Anything? Any slamming hot takes? We the People says hot takes 2+ TDs for Henry, Jacobs, and Barkley. We the People fires out these wild parlays that he comes like 98% close to hitting every time. So this is a fun one. 2 TDs for all of Henry, Jacobs, and Barkley. I like that. But what about you, Joe? Anything?
Yep. Sam Ellinger and Van Jefferson are taking us to the promised land today.
Fucking Van Jefferson.
Play those two, and you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Van Jefferson, 1 play. That's all we need.
It is true. You only need 1 from Van. I think I'm on the Braxton Berrios.
But let's talk about that Van Jefferson quick. He's fully healthy, right? He's good to go.
Yeah, I mean McVay said he's playing full snap share, or whatever his normal snap share is.
Yeah. Allen Robinson has been terrible. Higbee, if they keep him in to block more, I mean, who else are they going to throw to other than Cooper Kupp?
True.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. The only thing that makes me nervous is I try really hard not to play chalky value wide receivers. And
is he going to be chalky though?
I think he might get up to like 4 or 5% now. People have been talking about him over the weekend. So
really? You think it's like you mean it's going up 5% from what it's at right now, or you think 5% is going to be like what it's at?
I think it might get to 5%.
Yeah.
Which still might be.
He had like the IR designation on his thing, and even yesterday. Yeah. So I don't know if people are playing him.
All right, I'm back in. I'm back in on Van Jefferson because I was about to bet my entire NFL All Day account that Braxton Berrios was going to outscore Van Jefferson today.
He still might.
Well, I also don't have any all day moments at the moment. But here's my Braxton Berrios take is that he is going to return a punt for a touchdown, and the correlation of Braxton Berrios and Jets D wins the Millie today.
That's an old Peter Jennings correlation.
Yeah, the old.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's back on the Van wagon. That's pretty good.
Well, like that.
That's pretty good. All right, let's Miles Sanders or Pierce. Are we talking just straight up league, like you just pick them? Who do you? I don't know, John. Who you got?
Miles Sanders or Pierce? Pierce.
Yeah.
Joe.
Probably, yeah. I actually have one for you guys in one of my season-long leagues, if you don't mind.
Oh, wow. Let's go.
Flex spot, half-point PPR, DJ Moore, Eno Benjamin, Deontay Foreman.
Wait, say that. What was the first one again?
DJ Moore. And I think Darrell Williams is playing today, so that hurts Eno.
Yeah. I think I kind of go Foreman, even though he probably doesn't catch a lot of passes, but
it's pretty gross.
But Chuba, whatever his name is out. So
yeah, I think I'm going Foreman as well. Getting rid of Tua and going to Hurts. Thanks for the financial advice, Sean. All right, there we go, Daniel. All right, listen, hey, thanks everyone for being here today. Joe, excited to have you jump on this show a little bit more regularly. This was fun having you here. We're gonna give away this premium pack again. If you hit it, shoot me a DM. Reminder, I dropped a link earlier in the chat. I think I pinned it, maybe I didn't. But go check out Momentum Labs app and to get all of that momentumlabs.app for all the stuff that we were kind of going over today. They got plenty of other stuff around the Top Shot all day, So Rare, all that stuff. So let's spin this for the premium pack. And it is going to, seeing a lot of familiar faces in there. It's going to T. Murray. T Murray, big dubs. So T Murray, shoot me a DM when you get a chance, just so I can get that info. Just a heads up, it takes like a week or two, or in Orion's case, maybe a little bit longer to grab those packs. So be patient. But yeah, thanks again for being here, everybody. Good luck with your lineups, and let's go early.